Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Kevin C. Faye podcast. I'm your boy, Kevin Davis. I'm a comic creator, author, entrepreneur, and so many different hats. But today's guest is Mr. Mitch Rogers. Welcome to the show. How you doing, Mitch?
I'm doing good. How are you? I'm glad to be here.
Man, I'm doing all right, brother. The user creative life. You're tired, but I'm keep going. But for those that's like being introduced to you for the first time, tell us a bit about yourself and who Mr. Mitch Rogers is.
Well, as you said, I'm Mitch Rogers. I'm 15 to 16 year veteran of the indie comics community. I started in '08, '09. I've been, doing the whole indie thing basically. Yeah, yes, for the entire time I've been doing comics. Native of South Carolina, big horror fan
Yes,
and
girl.
horror creator.
Yes, heck yeah. I'm such a hard nerd.
Well, I am
I
too.
am such a hard nerd, and I write a lot of horror stories myself. And I've been in the comics for about 4 years now, so I'm still like a new kid on the block, learning so many angles of this industry, and it's been so much fun. Did you like grew up like you knew you wanted to be like create your own comics? It was like, was that like a different career path that you wanted to go before you started doing comics?
Ever since I could read, I was into comics, and ever since I was into comics, I wanted to do my own comics.
Wow.
And as far as like indie comics, that didn't come until about middle school. When I really got into like all the '90s era indie comics. Spawn, The Crows, my favorite
Yes.
comic of all time. Yeah, and of course, like you have like the Chaos comics. Just the really over the top stuff. I'm really a fan of that stuff. And
Man,
that kind of
I
bled over
freaking
into like
love.
my taste in movies too. I'm a big like trauma
Yeah.
fan and all that.
Dude, man, yeah, I freaking love Spawn. The crazy thing is, I did not grow up reading comics. I didn't know comics until 2020, when the COVID era was.
Uh,
But I watched like the Spawn movie. I watched like the Hellboy movies. I watched like the MCU, DC movies, animations, and everything. But I didn't know about there was a different medium before 2020, and
yeah,
it
most
took me.
people.
I'm like.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just Blizzard, and I was like, when I found out about comic books, I was like, am I truly a nerd? Because how did I miss this entire world in my entire life? Like, come on. I need my nerd card taken because I'm not a true nerd because I didn't know what comic books was. Like, wow.
Nerddom kind of goes into multiple facets, so I wouldn't feel bad.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, I feel better. I feel better then. Well, what
Thank
was
you.
you about to say?
I completely forgot.
Not understandable. And was there like a particular like movie writer, comic writer, artist that really like inspired you and pushed you to really getting to finding your style and writing your stories?
As far as one, there really isn't. It's more of a menagerie of creators that have
Ah,
existed from. I mean, I'm growing up when I really got into comics. I'd go to like used bookstores and stuff like that, and they'd have old heavy metals, old creepy, worn magazines, like
yeah.
the Russ Cochran reprints of EC, like Tales from the Crypt. So probably like a menagerie of like Richard Corbin, Bernie Wrightson, Jack Davis from Tales from the Crypt, just a whole plethora of it. But as far as my own style, that was mainly just me developing my style on my own. I've always been kind of I've always been kind of like I want to do my own things. I don't want to. It's kind of hard nowadays, but I don't want to imitate.
Yeah.
I just want to do what I want to do. And so, as far as like
Mhm.
my own artwork, like I tried going through that era of like trying to make my artwork look like someone else's, and every artist does it. It's
Mhm.
not something unique to one person. They always start off that
Yeah,
way,
yeah,
but
yeah.
just it it wasn't that good. So then when I started like honing my own craft, like drawing things the way that I draw them, that's when my style really started to develop, both drawing and writing.
Dude, wow, you do both of them. Oh Lord,
Yeah,
man,
yeah,
you write and draw your own comics.
yep. Write them, publish,
Oof,
sell,
man,
hopefully.
bro, you are a beast, my dude. Writing and drawing, I mean, they're both a
Oh,
headache by themselves, but you do all the above. Good Lord.
yeah. Well, I'm
And I
kind
know you
of.
have a new project. Sorry.
Oh yes. Oh no. No, I was saying I'm kind of picky about my own stuff. So in order to get it out
Ah,
the way I want it, the best thing to do is just do everything myself. It's just the way I am.
fair, fair, fair. And I know you have a new comic out called Shivers out on Fund
Hmm.
My Comic. Let's get this party started and learn about Shivers. Can you see that screen good?
Yeah, I can.
Awesome, awesome. So Shivers, the tales of shiver your bones. Oh wow, I love that tagline. Tales of shiver your bones. Every pun intended. Tell us a bit about what
Thank
Shivers
you.
is and like what's like the genesis, like how you came up with this story.
Well, it's an anthology. It's multiple stories. Of course, growing up,
Oh,
I said,
nice.
I read heavy metal and EC, and I have my flagship character, the Boger, but I also want to do other things, and I love short stories. Both in comics and in prose fiction. So, and I have like a whole bunch
Mm,
of ideas as far as short stories go. So, I was like, you know what, no, there's not that many horror anthologies out now, so I just put out my own. Just put
mm,
a few of the stories I have on the back burner in there and see how it goes.
mm.
It's And
Nice.
of course, being a horror anthology, it needs its own host and a character I've kind of um, put put out there here or there. I'm trying to see where he fits. Is that guy right there, Count Gory, and it's spelled Gorey, like the cartoonist Edward Gorey. And he's
Yeah.
basically,
Yeah.
yeah, I've always liked the spelling of a Count Gore, or of Edward Gorey's name, along with his artwork. But about like someone called Gory is usually Gory, and it's like over the top, and so I just kind of like spell it that way, and then I put, well, he's a count, so he's sophisticated and morbid at the same time.
Dude, dude, this is sick, man.
Thank you.
And
And
yeah, I've barely been in horror anthologies, and so this is actually really cool. And I'm actually
thank
planning
you.
on doing like my own horror anthology. A few horror anthologies I'm planning on down the road. So
Cool.
looking at your book is actually giving me inspiration on how to do my horror anthologies. So this is pretty
Oh,
awesome.
thanks.
Stories are like these
This
shivers that you are planning.
the first issue here is four, and the stories I have planned out kind of goes like it's basically what would fit into a standard comic book length. So it could be like
Ah,
one longer story, it could be two, three, just however many fills up the book. And in most of the first issue is stories I've done that are kind of sitting on the shelf, not really knowing where to go. So I
ah,
just, compiled them into the
mm,
first issue, and I ended up coming 3 pages short. So I just threw in another.
mm.
I came up with a story overnight, drew it in a few days, and put it uh, in the final few pages because I did my math wrong and I didn't do the printing rule of four. How every book has to be like 4 page increments, So I was like, oh, I'll just throw a 3 page story in there.
Ah. Heck yeah, man. And this is actually gonna be like a full-fledged like anthology series where each book is like different
Yes,
stories, or will they be like connected to each other?
it's um it's going to be a full on anthology. Uh, not really. Some might. I don't want to like give
Mm,
it like a final answer. And then change my mind later on. But I
sure.
mean, maybe some of the stories might be connected, but as for right now,
Hmm.
they're all self-contained. Because when I started doing indie comics, this was before
That makes
crowdfunding, before the internet distribution that we have now. And most indie books, you kind of had to keep them self-contained.
mm,
Um, because it was very hard for people to find any indie comics if they weren't on like a mailing list or went to the same conventions you did.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I'm kind of still in that mindset of just keep everything self-contained um, and easily obtainable as far as concept.
Ah, that makes sense. And when you were like working on this anthology, is there like a character or like story that was like personal to you? Because I know like as creators, that some people like base their story off like people in their life or like just like some stories like personal to them. Is there like a character like
Uh,
story personal to
not
you while you was
not
creating this book?
necessarily. I've always had a hard time like adapting personal experiences and people I know into stuff and making them like kind of taking myself out as the creator in order to tell a story. So everything I do is usually um, you know, just just a concept in and of itself. Uh,
Ah, that makes most that makes perfect sense. Okay, okay. And like when you're like craft like what was like your creative process like from start to finish of your stories? Like how did you go about writing it, then drawing it, or like if I like to like pick artists' brains, like how like everyone has their different process. Like did you have the like full out like outline drawn out, or did you just automatically knew what you wanted to do? You just went in, just heads first, just dived into it.
well, it actually depends on the story. But most of what I do is I will write a basic plot line. Nothing really detailed, just maybe a paragraph or two of the story. If it's a longer form, like a mini series, it'll be a few paragraphs. But just something to use as a springboard to start from. And then I go and flesh out the story more as like a short story instead of doing the panel one or page one, panel one, word balloon one kind of thing. I just write it out as just a basic generic short story, and then I transfer that into the script of um, or the typical comic book script, and from that I do the artwork. And I keep note. I'm always keep a
Ah,
copy of this on my drawing table. So I can like make
smart.
notes and stuff, and I'll like draw like little thumbnails of what the panels are supposed to look like in the margins of the page and stuff, and then I just scan them into the computer and do either the toning or the coloring, the word balloons, and it's ready to go.
Heck yeah. And I see the book is black and white. Is there gonna be a color version or is the finished project just black and white?
Um, I actually have a stretch goal. I when I made it, I forgot to put the stretch goals in. I was wanting to put an update
Mm.
uh, on it, but if I hit $3,000, it will be full color.
Oh snap. Heck yeah. And when you like creating this anthology, was there like a character that like surprised you when you to take the story to like an unexpected direction? Even though this is an anthology, but like I know there's multiple stories, but was there like a character in either story that kind of like surprised you as you was creating them?
Yeah, I think it's a few pages down. There's a monster in a trench coat and a fedora, That kind
This
of
one.
started off as as just a basic sketch. For some reason,
Mhm.
the guy just popped into my head one day, and I just sketched him in a sketchbook. And then I decided to put him into a story, and I was I was kind of like, what does he do? Like how does he go about things? And then I came up with the idea as I was actually writing the short story that I don't know if you remember Animaniacs, the show Animaniacs.
I do. I do. Yep.
There was a character on there called Boo. He was a large chicken. And one of the ongoing gags was everyone
Yeah,
thought he
yeah.
was a
I know
person
exactly what
except
you're
for
talking
like
about.
one person who knows the chicken. And I was
Yep.
like, well, this guy is in the dumbest outfit possible. It's a trench coat and a fedora, and he has a name tag that says, it's not easily readable there, but it says, "Hi, my name is Jimbo." And I was just like,
Yep.
how about this guy just, around this monster thing, and everyone thinks he's a person except the one person that notices he's a monster, and then
Yep. Yep.
horror stuff ensues.
Yep. I know exactly what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
kind
I
of like a
love
quirky,
that show.
silly
Oh
thing,
my
and I was
God.
just like, oh,
Yes.
no, yeah,
I I know like it's as creative. Sometimes I know people like get like which is like a writer's block, like an artist block. Do you like sometimes get like in that moment where it's like you feel like you have a block, and like how do you potentially like get out of that block when you like feel like you're not wanting, you're not doing what you want to do, and like a lot of people like overthink stuff and like get into that situation. Like how do you deal with that?
I overthink. Well, I used to get. It's one of my neighbors making noise. um, I used to get writer's blocks a lot, but then I saw an interview with Harlan Ellison, and he was talking about having a writer's block, and he said that the best trick to not have writer's block is when you're working on something and you have to go, say it's late at night, and you have to go to sleep, or you have a job you have to go to. The best thing to
Mhm.
do is don't finish what you're doing off the bat. Like stop, say mid sentence, stop mid panel, um, and that way when you come back, your brain will start like, oh, okay, how do I finish this sentence? Okay, here we go. Here we go. And the best trick is he said, always end hot, don't end cold. Don't end with a finished idea until the story's done. Always end kind of halfway through. That way, when you come back, your mind can pick it up like you never left it.
Oh,
Sometimes like
I like that.
if I'm working on something and I have the time to finish it, but I hit like a writer's block or an artist block, I'll just kind of stop, cool my head a little bit, maybe watch a movie, listen to music, whatever, just
Mm-hmm.
to get my mind off of it so I'm not obsessing over it. And then when I come back, it's also easier that way to start fresh.
No, it makes total sense because I kind of have started doing that without not without noticing, not thinking about it. Because there's been like times I feel like I'm stuck on something, and then I just stop midway through what I'm writing, or like read and so like, and I just go like put a movie on, or like put a TV show on, or like some music or something in my background, or I just sit down and just watch it myself, just watch it. I like to get my brain off work for a minute. And then whatever I'm watching, it gives me like inspiration for the story I'm writing. And then I'm like,
Yeah,
oh, now I know what to do with that character. Like, oh, and now I know how to take the story in the particular direction I want it to go.
yeah,
And and also, by the way, guys, Shivers is on Fun My Comic, and the link is in the description of this video while you're watching. And it's 17 days to go on the campaign. Let's get this sucker funded, guys. And it's very affordable. You got three awards on here. You got the digital copy for $2. and you can get a physical copy for $5 plus shipping. And there's a limited copy, a signed copy, signed and number copy of the book for $10 plus shipping. And link is in the description of this video while we're discussing Shivers and talking to Mr. Mitch Rogers. And as someone that's been in this community and like in this industry for so long, uh, what's like your best advice you could give like for an up and coming aspiring artists or writers that's trying to break into the industry?
Um, just uh, just do what you want to do. Don't put work out thinking like, oh, this will sell, that'll sell. Create books that you yourself want to read. Yeah, just get your stuff done, put it out, and the biggest advice is always make the books you want to read, because don't go chasing after trends or doing what you think sells. If you want to read it, those are the books want you should make, because passion always comes through the project, and the audience will can tell if you care about the material enough to put it out, and they'll want more of it because the effort in doing it will be better, therefore the end result is better.
Hmm. Heck yeah, I like that. I like that. Mm, I think that's one of the biggest advice I've
Thank you.
always been given since writing my own stories, and I've always been told it's like write what you want to write and write from the heart. Like don't think about what other people want because at the end of the day, it's your story to tell.
Yeah, and it's always
Right.
best to I think it was Stephen King once said, write what you know. Yeah, and that's always been another piece of great advice. Which is why his stories are always about writers in Maine, I guess.
Not wrong about that. You're not wrong about that. You know, first off, Mr. Rogers, thank you for much coming on, man. But Shivers is on Fund My
Um,
Comic, guys. Like I said, the link is in the description of this video. While you're watching, make sure you go back it. Show Mitch Rogers some love. Let's get this sucker funded and get to some stretch goals and push this book out. 17 days left on the not Kickstarter, on the Fund My Comic. But before I go, can you tell us like where we can follow you on social media to keep up to date with your projects and what you got going on, man?
yeah, you can find all my stuff at Linktree dash Celtic Cross Studios, where there you can find my online store, my web comics, my socials, my everything. You can also find me most Sundays on Randy Zimmerman's Sunday Funnies YouTube show, where we each week we look at a book or books and kind of discuss it. We actually
Ah.
finished Akira, which was a great series of
Oh.
episodes, but it took way too long.
Yeah,
One of my favorite
understandable.
comic series of all time, and I mentioned it to them. They're like, "Hey, let's do Akira," and I was like, "One volume or the whole series?" Oh, the whole series. I'm like, "Okay, that's gonna be a while, but okay."
That that's a lot of
Yeah, we
story.
had fun. Oh yeah.
Good deal, good deal. And you can find me on Instagram. I am Kevin Davis official. Facebook, I am Kevin Davis CEO. And Fate on wherever you watch or listen to podcasts like on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and my YouTube at Keversal, which is Kevirsal. And make sure you back Shivers on From My Comic right now. Link in the description of this video. And we'll catch you guys next time.